Yo, what's going on, guys? This is Anthony with themovieblog.com, and I'm back here with another video. Now, this time we're here with our Avatar: The Way of Water Dolby Cinema review. Now, I was invited by the fine folks of Dolby to screen this movie at the AMC Theater in Lincoln Center in their Dolby Cinema. There's a lot of specific things to this movie that you only experience in this sort of environment that I really want to touch on, and I think you guys are going to find interesting. So let's start off with, as usual, the good. Now, the visuals of Avatar: The Way of Water and the action grab your attention almost immediately. From the moment you sit down, your jaw will likely hit the floor because the movie doesn't waste time with, like opening credits or anything like that before the movie actually starts. That said, do yourself a favor and see this movie in the biggest, loudest theater that you possibly can. Whatever is available to you, if it's IMAX, RPX 4D, or preferably Dolby's Theater, Dolby Cinema, whatever you do, just do yourself a favor and splurge on that experience. Like I said, I saw this one at the Dolby Cinema at AMC Lincoln Square, and I sat in the mezzanine. And I have to say that this was an absolutely thrilling experience. Whenever you see a movie theater that has a mezzanine, take it, do it. Do yourself that favor, it's worth it. Now, early in the movie, I noticed that James Cameron was actually using sound as a prop in the movie. There were moments when a helicarrier would fly across the screen and the sound of the propellers would make the theater rumble. And it's in these moments that you find that the sound is standing out and they allow you to enjoy the experience of watching as much as you can. The visuals of Avatar: The Way of Water are extremely sharp and they're complemented with this sound. The graphics are so sharp that some of you eagle-eyed viewers are probably going to notice the graphics between some of the scenes where it almost feels like at some moments you're watching Halo and other moments you're watching Gears of War. There's almost like a graininess to it. The visuals are incredibly sharp, incredibly detailed. You're going to see that with that high frame rate adds to the visual experience. Now, I think the visuals here are a huge improvement on the re-release of the original Avatar. Now, I have to admit that the first time I saw the first Avatar, I didn't see that movie in theaters. I saw it in 2D at home, and it affected my perspective on that movie. I saw the movie again during the re-release in September, which was my first time seeing it in 3D, and that helped a lot. The 3D effects in this movie go a long way in helping you get immersed in the overall enjoyment under this new improved technique. The immersion is helped by the story itself being accessible. Now, Avatar: The Way of Water is the best movie sequel that I've seen in a very long time. Movie sequels have the burden of honoring the expectations of the film that came before them, and Avatar: The Way of Water is following in the footsteps of the highest grossing movie of all time. That said, Avatar does a great job of paying homage to the original and also introducing new concepts that are going to thrust you into the new things that are introduced in this movie, especially with the Na'vi and their water tribes. Now, Avatar: The Way of Water is a story about a father and sons. It's a story about expectations versus realities. It's a story about cross-generational family relationships, especially with the sons seeking their own identities in the shadows of their father. Now, I really enjoy this multi-layered storytelling that helps serve a very rich, fulfilling experience. The teenage angst, the discovery of new places and concepts, the learning of acceptance of change, and the rivalries. Oh my gosh, there are some rivalries with teenage immaturity in full effect throughout. The interpersonal relationships of the characters make this movie dense enough that it may take repeat viewings to really absorb everything that's happening. Everything from Spider and Quaritch to Jake and his sons. And let's not forget about everything with Kitty. There's just so much to unpack with Kitty that it might be very easy to miss some important key details in her story. I think the storytelling in the movie is entertaining enough that it warrants a lot of rewatchability, a lot of positive things to say, but that also does add to the fact and makes it a little bit more harsher to realize that not everything in Avatar: The Way of Water is perfect. So with that said, let's hop into the bad. Now, I think Avatar: The Way of Water has a villain problem. Stephen Lang is back in this movie, and he's just as ferocious as he was in the first movie. Through some in-movie science shenanigans, Quaritch is back, but this time in a Na'vi body, which is a little convenient. Now, I know that villains are a challenge when creating a movie like this, and there's a reason that almost every Batman movie features the Joker as the villain. Avatar: The Way of Water does some interesting things to make Quaritch's return work, but it does feel a little forced. Part of me wishes that they would have introduced a completely new character as the villain. I think of movies like Wakanda Forever, and I give a lot of credit to director Ryan Coogler for delivering two strong villains in each of his Black Panther films. It's not to say that Avatar 2 feels like Avatar 1 because of Quaritch, but it feels familiar to overcome the same protagonists as the first movie. This is interesting because Avatar 2 has no problem with introducing new characters. Another thing that's almost in the bad, it actually feels like there are way too many new characters in this for me to remember. I dare any one of you who saw this movie to name two of Jake's kids, and you can't say Natea. I'll wait. Sigourney Weaver returns in this movie, but she's playing an entirely new character in this film than she did in the first film. Jake's two other kids, along with Natea and Kiri, and his pet human that got left behind in the Sky People in Avatar named Spider. There's just so many. And then there's the chief of the Water Tribe and his wife and their 2 or 3 kids. And then there's the race of giant sea monsters along with their kids that also all have names. And it all just feels so overwhelming. Another thing that's kind of bad for Avatar: The Way of Water is that it's a very long movie. As much as I enjoyed every second of revisiting Pandora, and I have to admit there came a point when I felt like the movie could have ended and it just wouldn't. Some movies are long and they feel like they could have kept going. This movie just feels long. I can imagine James Cameron sitting in the editing room fighting to keep every second of this movie. Everyone. And I know this movie was too long because I checked my watch during the movie, just to see how much time was left. I know there's something off when I start checking my watch during a movie. It's an odd feeling and one that you'll likely notice in the last 30 to 45 minutes of the movie. It's something that I think is an issue. Overall, this is one of the best sci-fi films of the year, and it's almost a perfect film. Some better editing, some more development of the supporting cast, and just little flourishes here and there would have helped balance things out. Overall, I give Avatar: The Way of Water a 9 out of 10. Anyway, that's all I have for this one. As usual, if you guys like these updates, you want to see more, please do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. It does a huge service to me. I need every little bit of help I can get from you guys. Please hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Otherwise, I'm going to have to check you guys later.